I'm Marcia Gauns-Wapeltui. Welcome to the Council of Ministers live press briefing for today, Wednesday, August 8, 2018. The press briefing is now officially open. At this time, I invite Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports Affairs, the Honorable Wycliffe Smith, to address you. Minister?
Thank you very much, and good morning to all. Honorable Prime Minister, fellow colleague ministers, members of the Department of Communication, people watching and viewing this press briefing. Good morning, St. Martin. The St. Martin delegation that recently attended and competed at the 2018 Central American Caribbean Games returned to St. Martin over the weekend. I had the privilege to be at the airport to welcome them back home. 4 of our athletes participated in 4 different sports. They took part in judo, sailing, swimming, and cycling. And although St. Martin did not return with medals, our athletes competed well in the games. According to the St. Martin Sport and Olympic Federation, following our participation in the games and following official meetings, St. Martin is now officially a part of the Central American Caribbean Games. The Federation plans to start immediately with preparations for the CAC Games that will be held in Panama in 2020. And also, our athletes will be preparing for the 2019 Pan American Games that will be held in Peru. The St. Martin Sport and Olympic Federation plans to hold a press briefing within short to further detail the trip and its outcomes. On behalf of the government and the people of St. Martin, I wish to congratulate the St. Martin Sport and Olympic Federation, as well as congratulations to our 4 athletes for representing St. Martin. We also wish them well as they continue to make St. Martin known in the world of sports. In light of school readiness for the new school year that starts on Monday, August 13th, I signaled last week that we had a shortage of some 44 teachers. Since then, I know that teachers have applied, schools have processed applications, and the shortage has decreased. What the exact figure is at this particular time, I wouldn't be able to give you, but the appeal made last week did help. Several teachers seeking employment contacted my office and even contacted me personally. And we were able to direct them to the school boards who are directly responsible for hiring teachers. I'm confident that the school boards will be able to resolve the teacher shortage in a satisfactory manner by the time school begins on Monday. My ministry will be definitely looking at ways and means to mitigate the teacher shortage. On the short term, this can mean, for example, giving a temporary dispensation to teach to persons who are qualified in their field but who do not have the necessary pedagogical certificate to teach. And then there's the possibility of offering them pedagogical training. This all can be done, of course, and will be done in collaboration with the school boards. A long-term solution will be to begin by starting in September, to encourage graduates from secondary schools to apply for study financing in the field of teaching. Talking about study financing, I'm looking forward to going to Parliament next week to present the draft law on study financing. For years, study financing, such as grants and loans for further study, has been governed by policies that originated before 10-10-10, the days of the island and the executive councils. A complete new law on study financing has been drafted that will give guidelines concerning the various studies that will be financed, study amounts, study locations, repayment of study loans, and so on. And I'm looking forward to be able to push this law forward in Parliament so that finally the Division of Study Financing will have a law passed by our Parliament that they can work with. As you know, even though schools officially open on August 13th, the week before, teachers are back in school making preparations. The preparations can be anywhere from workshops, training, seminars, meetings, and setting up their classrooms to welcome their students back to school. This evening, public schools will be starting a very special training, that's training in how to use technology in the classrooms. At this time, I just want to take a moment to thank our teachers, our early childhood teachers, primary school teachers, secondary school teachers, vocational school teachers, teachers working in special education, and also teachers at the university level. To all of you, 2018 was not an easy year. Hurricane Irma wasn't easy on you. Many of you teachers lost everything. Many of you are still displaced. The plans that you had for the school year and for your particular class had to undergo major adjustments. But I keep hearing of the tenacity and the perseverance and the caring attitude of our teachers towards their students during that difficult time. And I'm very proud of our teachers. Because of your resilience, teachers, our children made it through the school year and did quite well. I also want to commend the school boards and the staff of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports, as well as, and thanks to my predecessors, former ministers Jacobs and Wouter, for steering the education ship through the rains, through the winds, and the severe damages caused by Irma. Together, we all made it, and we are overcomers. Let us pray that this year we'll be spared from hurricanes and from any other disaster. I have been working with school boards, and I know that they are working hard to make sure that their schools are ready for the new school year. All the necessary repairs to the buildings may not be completed yet, but I can assure you, parents, that the school boards and the principals, as well as the teachers, are making sure that your children are safe, comfortable, and they will ensure that the students suffer as little interruption and inconvenience as possible while work is being done to get our school buildings and our school properties up to par. To our children going back to school, I want to encourage you to make use of the education that you are being offered. Be serious about learning. Pay attention. Follow instructions. Do your homework. The government of St. Martin puts 1/3 of the national budget into education. That's over 120 million guilders. That shows that government takes education very seriously and wants to have an educated population. As a result, therefore, I beg you, students, to also take education seriously. It is the key that can unlock your future in the job market. Education is the key that can unlock your future in the cultural and artistic field. And it is the key that can help you to be a better you. Education is a very expensive key, 1/3 of the national budget. But it is a key that government makes available to all of you. Grab it and use it to open future doors in your life. And to the parents, encourage your children to learn. Show interest in their school day and in their schoolwork. Go to the report card evenings. Find out from the teacher how your child is doing. Collect the report card. It is so sad when I hear from teachers and principals that so many school reports are never collected. When the school organizes an activity, be there with your child or with your children. Show interest. Spend time at home talking with your child. Notice I said with and not to. There's a big difference. Parents, how well your child does in school also will depend on you. So for this school year, I extend a challenge to all who are in education. I challenge you to rise above the norm of just doing enough. Go above and beyond of what is your passion. I challenge you to set aside the differences you may have with those around you, and let us commit to work together. I challenge you to go further than bouncing back. Irma is almost behind us, and we are stronger than before. We are overcomers. The Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports has given this 2018-2019 school year the theme, Overcoming Together. However, we as the ministry cannot do it alone. We need your partnership to improve and accomplish our goals. By keeping our own passions and dreams alive, let us purpose together to make this school year the best one ever. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Smith, for those opening remarks. At this time, I invite Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transport and Telecommunication, the Honorable Stuart Johnson, to address you. Minister.
Good morning to the members of the press, good morning to the people of St. Martin, and good morning to all of you who are listening by extension and in subsequent broadcasts, whether it's by Gov Radio 107.9 or other broadcasts subsequent to this live press briefing. At this time now, I would like to make a few announcements on behalf of the ministry. Last week, I met with the key stakeholders for the Sunwing Group, which is going to be now the new Planet Hollywood, which is the former Great Bay Hotel. This will include, of course, not only 450 additional rooms that will be coming to St. Martin, but also 3 weekly flights from Canada, initially starting from Toronto, over 650 employees, a brand name hotel for the destination, and they will also assist in marketing of the destination. That, of course, is huge developments for St. Martin as we continue to redefine our tourism product and continue to ensure that St. Martin's tourism product is of optimal standard going forward. In addition to that, I am going to meet this week with the representatives of the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association. Part of meeting with them will be, of course, to ensure that we discuss the cruise product. We get feedback from the cruise lines and cruise passengers on how we can continue further enhance and promote the destination and our product. And in addition to that, how, as St. Martin, we can partner and go forward together. That is the reason for meeting with the representatives of the SCCA. In particular, to the cruise tourism and, of course, the tourist office updates, the following. When we look at Phillipsburg in total and how we are going to redefine Phillipsburg and strengthen Phillipsburg, the commitment from the ministry is the following. This weekend, on August 11th and 12th, will be the second phase of the vendor market and beautification stalls project, which is a collaboration between the Be the Change Foundation, Art Cafe, Koiman, and the Ministry of Theatre. This is part of the ministry's efforts to improve and enhance the tourism product, increase tourism awareness through volunteerism. So I'm encouraging one and all to come out and support as we continue to enhance our product together. Also, the second part of the Phillipsburg Alive Block Party will be held this Friday on August the 10th from 5 p.m. in the alleyway by the Cultural Center and Horizon View. The ministry continues to partnership with the Phillipsburg Promotional Board, and this is to continue to bring heightened awareness to our country's overall product development, and in particular, focus on bringing back life to our capital, Phillipsburg. At this time now, those are the updates for the Ministry of Theatre, and I look forward to answering any questions from the media subsequently. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Johnson, for those opening remarks. At this time, I invite Minister of Justice, the Honorable Cornelius De Weaver, to address you. Minister.
Thank you, Ms. Marsha Bobatui Gums. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, St. Martin. This morning, I would like to call on all residents of St. Martin, regardless of the district you live in, your religion, your country of origin, or the amount of money you make. I'm calling on you to fight for St. Martin, because the future of St. Martin is at risk if we do not act. We must combat all forms of crime and violence and improve the safety and security, or there will be no prosperity for anyone. There are many things that make St. Martin great. Our beaches, our hospitality, our nightlife, and our standard of living. And after Irma, we saw many people behave differently than they would on ordinary days. And we all decided to clean up St. Martin by starting with our own yards and then helping others around us. We are still busy cleaning up St. Martin, and together, but crime and violence will erode everything that we have worked hard to achieve, that our parents and grandparents have worked hard to achieve. It will erode our economy and the St. Martin that we love. Ending crime and violence in our community is a priority, and it is the only way, with the help of the community, that we can end this. We all would like to prosper in a peaceful environment, and it will take all of us to fight or to combat crime and violence. In order to eliminate crime, it will take the police and the community. St. Martin is only 37 square miles, and like Mr. Swazi said, the Gale does not stop at the border, and I echo his sentiments in saying that crime does not stop at the border. On Friday, I will be meeting with the Prefet to ensure that we continue working together in this area as well as others. We will all have to work together, talk with each other, listen to one another, and at times we might even have to pray together. Right, Minister Smith? And equally important, we all have to act in unison. It is easier than we think, but change comes with challenges. But change always comes. As Minister of Justice, I denounce all senseless killings. I denounce all unacceptable behavior by men and women in blue. I denounce any form of violence against others. I denounce any form of human exploitation, trafficking, or smuggling. I denounce our students who take weapons or drugs to school. We have to go to the root of the problems and pull them out before they become thorns in our side or in our faces. I believe that the system is designed to work, beginning in our homes, neighborhoods, schools, social and labor assistance, mental health, Turning Point, Court of Guardianship, Ms. Lally Center, and the entire justice chain. The system must work. We all have to pay to make it work, or we will pay because it is not working. We need to hire police officers, camera observers, prison guards, custom officers, and immigration officers. This comes with a price as well, or we will pay the price in the near future. We are asking our police and the entire justice chain to serve and protect, despite all the illegal guns on the road, despite the gangs, and despite not having all the resources that they need. So please understand that they need your support. They also have to earn your trust, and this is a two-way street. I want to thank you very much for your attention, and I look forward to any questions you may have.
Thank you, Minister De Wever, for your opening remarks. At this time, I invite Minister of Healthcare, Social Development and Labor, the Honorable Emma Lee, to address you. Minister?
Thank you, Marcia. Good morning, fellow colleagues, members of the media, those listening by radio, television, or internet. Good morning. I have a couple topics to update the public on. One is an update on the construction short course. I've spoken about it a couple of times. These are courses that are organized by MIC-IT, NEPA, and the Ministry of VSA. And I think it's interesting to note, this is a collaboration actually that is slated to continue until the end of December 2019. So we have a number of courses that we're going to be rolling out between now and the end of December 2019. Originally, we had 6 courses that we were planning to do trainings for: masonry, plumbing, welding, carpentry, electrical, and property maintenance. The mason, plumbing, and welding courses are on hold for now, and we're focusing on the 3 courses based on the turnout. We have our first course or first cohort already filled. That course is closed. So we're going to be doing the carpentry, electrical, and general property maintenance. We have 112 participants for the course already, and the orientation is going to start on August 13th at NEPA. The course is a 6-month course. The hours for the course are from 5 to 9 and Monday through Friday. So it's, I think, quite an intensive course. We're very proud of the work that the ministry has put together, the Department of Labor Affairs in particular. So once this course is completed, then we will look at what the next set of courses will be. With the signing of the grant agreement that was just recently done, actually, I guess yesterday, for $22.5 million, we're actually hoping that this course will fall into the program in part of our skills training program. The grant agreement that was signed is actually following through on a project. If you remember, the Cash for Work program, or actually it started as a hospitality training program, began with the previous government. Actually, it started in December of 2017, actually under the financing and as a private initiative from Maho Great Bay. So they started a program in particular for their employees who they didn't have full-time employment for, and started a training program to upgrade their skills and paying them a stipend. Government, in negotiations with them and with the foundation, took over the course as of February 2018. The original budget for the program was 8 million guilders for the pilot program, and it was a pilot program. During the past few months, we've been going through and learning from how we can improve, strengthen, and facilitate the course. And for example, one of the things that came out during the course, there's obviously always legal issues that come out. Because the training program, it was a question as to whether it was a training program or employment, there became issues with the participants maintaining their health insurance. So we found temporary solutions, but as part of the pilot program, we found that we needed to ensure that all of the individuals could maintain access to their health insurance. And we're very happy that in our negotiations with World Bank, we've managed to include that there will be a contribution for the participants of the course towards SLV so that the participants can maintain their health insurance benefits. With the grant of $22.5 million, it allows us to extend the program. It allows us to strengthen the program. It allows us to increase the number of participants in the program. The Ministry of VSA is very proud to have organized what I believe is an exceptional program that really helps the people in our community who find that their income has dropped due to reduced hours. This is a great way for them to educate themselves, to add the set of skills to their repertoire, and to earn a stipend in the process and maintain their health insurance. So in the end, after the course is finished, we will have a workforce that is highly educated, that they're more proficient, and in the meantime, we've also helped them to bridge the gap between now and when the hotel properties finish their rebuilding process. So very proud of that project. In addition, the Department of Labor Affairs hosted a meet and greet for the construction partners. The main idea of the meet and greet was to make sure our industry partners, private sector, is familiar with NESC, or the National Employment Service Center. You know, the ministry is trying to be innovative. We're trying to recognize all of our social partners and realize that it's only through collaboration that in the end we're going to strengthen the employability of our people, our economy, and our various industries. So this was a cocktail reception that was hosted on July 31st. 45 different construction companies attended. And as I said, the aim of it was to familiarize our partners with all of the things that the Ministry of VSA is doing, and in particular, NESC. We're also going to be looking to our partners to help us with placing interns or apprentices within their companies. So as we're training individuals, we want them to be able to gain that practical experience, and we believe that one of the ways they can do that is through basically an internship program. As you know, we have a number of people that are doing studying abroad and also all of our training programs, and we'd like to ensure that the graduates from these programs also have access to employment once they finish. And so maintaining that relationship with our partners is a key part of ensuring the employability of the people once they finish the training programs. NESC continues to work with the Division of Study Financing. We have 8 students in Trinidad. Their construction course is expected to complete in October of this year. And again, we look forward to assisting them when they return home with finding employment in our community. One of the other interesting things is that the partners at the meet and greet indicate interest in having actually their employees attend our construction short courses. So although they've hired people already for the companies to work, they certainly recognize that there's some skill sets that perhaps the individuals could strengthen. And so they expressed interest in having some of their employees participate in some of our training courses, and that's something that we certainly welcome. I think anything that improves or strengthens the ability of our staff to perform well, excellent. So we're very happy to build on the partnership and cooperation between private sector and government. Last, just this morning, we delivered to the Ministry of ROMI 3 cases of drawings for the new St. Martin General Hospital. So these are the revised design drawings based on post-IRMA specifications. So all of the drawings have been completed. I was very impressed with the amount of work. I mean, they literally brought in 3 cases of drawings. So our Minister of ROMI is not here, but he has promised, so he was there, number 1, with Charlene Pompier to receive the drawings. They have promised that they will do their best to expedite the processing of the building permits so that we hopefully can start the hospital before the end of the year. On a side note, you know, normally I don't like to comment on melee, but this is a WhatsApp message that was circulating. Of course, this was circulating around elections, and I felt that there was no point addressing it because in election times, nobody ever believes what politicians have to say anyways. But this is a message that circulated again just recently, saying that Minister Lee has a family interest and that the contract for building of the hospital is going to be going to a family member. And I want to assure the public this process has been done extremely transparently. I have no personal financial interests. No family member has any financial interests. No construction interests. Have not, does not, and will not have any interest in the construction of the hospital in terms of the actual execution of the construction of the hospital. So there was a public tender process. Just as a recap, there was a public tender process. All of those tenders were actually opened in the presence of the notary. As a matter of fact, all of those original bids are still in the safe of the notary, so that in the event someday, whenever, in the future, if there's ever a dispute, if the court wants to review the original tender documents, they are all there untouched by anyone from the ministry or within the health tripartite for anyone to review. As a matter of fact, the business plan, the construction plans, the tender documents, all of them have been reviewed by so many different people, including the World Bank. As you know, we've asked the World Bank to support with the financing of the hospital, and one of the criteria for the World Bank to participate in it was that it had to pass World Bank procurement procedures. So in other words, they reviewed the procurement procedures for the construction of the hospital to ensure that it was to transparent and international standards. They gave it a thumbs up, which allowed the review process for the grant proposal to continue. So again, I'd like to emphatically state, that these types of malicious rumors are unfounded and destructive, I think, for the integrity of government and for the community. So I wanted to just take the opportunity to clarify that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Lee, for your opening remarks. At this time, I'd like to invite to the podium Minister of Finance, the Honorable Perry Healings, to address you. Minister?
Thank you. Good morning to my colleagues, to the press corps, and to the people of St. Martin. I have some points to update the people, and I will keep it brief. As the people know, we requested additional budgetary support for the first quarter of 2018. The process went well. The Kingdom Council of Ministers approved based on advice of the CFT. As we speak, we are kind of finalizing the protocol where it is concerned that we need to find out how fast the monies can be transferred to our accounts. The advice to that is at the Council of Advice right now, and then it needs to be passing through the Parliament also to inform them of the status. So hopefully by the end of this month, the additional 32.6 million guilders will be added to the coffers of Country St. Martin. Then a little update on our tax department. In one of my first addresses to the people, I made mention of the fact that the tax department needs to be upgraded seriously. As we speak, there is a team present on St. Martin conducting a quick scan of the situation at the tax department. One of the focuses is how to improve the computer system, the system with which we have to work to make sure that our data that we have is being worked well with. We need to do a serious cleanup of our data files. So that is being conducted this Friday. There will be a preliminary presentation done by this team here in the government building, after which probably next week I will give you a further update on the findings. The system that we are using at the tax department is almost obsolete. It is not functional, and it does not deliver what we are supposed to bring in from taxes. We cannot afford our tax department to lag behind in the redevelopment of the country. I will keep you further informed going along the way. Then on the moving out of the receiver's office from the government building to their old or the former facility that they were in. Our facility management department is diligently working at refurbishing the building. The report was that we need an additional 3 to 4 weeks before they can move in, and that goes also for the census part and the post office, if I'm not mistaken, Prime Minister, but I'm guessing the Prime Minister will inform me thereof. Then also in my first address to the people, I made mention of the fact that my ministry was embarking on a project which was called the Financial Recovery Plan for St. Martin. I can tell you that I will need another 2 weeks before I can present this plan to you. The concept is already finished, the first concept, and it's being reviewed right now. Maybe a little bit more on the details of the recovery plan, because I don't want any misunderstanding to arise from the wording of this plan. We have a governing program which sets the road clear for us, where to, how to, and the direction that the government is supposed to take. This is an addition to that where it concerns the Ministry of Finance. It's time, and I think that everyone would agree, that the financial management of Country St. Martin is in dire need of improvement, and this plan will just do that, or focus on the improvement of our financial management. Then, in closing, we still need to appoint a member to the CFT. Yesterday I had a meeting with a proposed member, the member of which I, at this point in time, cannot disclose the name, but the offer to be a member of the CFT was accepted. We are now working out the administrative part of it. Once that is been settled, I will inform the public in general. Then we also have a Kingdom project soon to be started, that is to the evaluation of the Kingdom law for the financial supervision of countries Curacao and St. Martin. Also on that committee we need to appoint a member and a supportive staff member. A member is also identified, still awaiting the final approval and final acceptance to that position. Once that is done, I will further inform you on the name of the person that will represent St. Martin in that committee. I thank you for now, and I'm ready to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Heerlings, for your opening remarks. At this time, I invite Honorable Prime Minister Leona Romeo-Marlin. Minister.
A pleasant good morning to one and all, my colleagues, the media, invited guests. Last night about 7:30 p.m., the fire department was called for a dump fire here on Pond Island. Upon arrival, the firefighters encountered a huge fire on the old dump. Their first priority was to contain the fire from spreading to other areas. This was not always possible because most of the areas were and still are not accessible to the fire trucks, and the firefighters on the scene were not able to ascertain the exact locations of the fire in the area. Assistance was requested from the St. Martin Police Department. The police used their aerial drone to get an overall overview of the situation, which allowed the firefighters to put a plan together to bring the fire under control. This was achieved during the wee hours of this morning around 3 a.m. One of the sections of the fire area was not accessible to the fire department, and there was a chance of the fire spreading. However, due to the wind direction, this worked in their favor to help contain the fire. On Wednesday this morning, 7 a.m., the fire department carried out a reconnaissance of the area where the fire took place, and at that time, there was still a couple of hot spots and lots of smoke. The department informed me that it is possible that the dump will continue to smoke for some time to come. I would therefore like to ask you, the people of St. Martin, especially those with health challenges, not to venture into the path of the smoke if it's not necessary. All persons with breathing problems should stay as far as possible from the smoke, and to keep all windows and doors closed as to limit the amount of smoke that enters your homes. At times you may not see the smoke, but there could be small particles in the air that can still be dangerous to each and every one, especially persons with breathing challenges. In the meantime, the government continues to work on a sustainable solution to this ongoing problem, and as fires flare up from time to time, our first responders will be there to deal with it. Yesterday, on Tuesday, August 7th, the second grant agreement of the St. Martin Recovery and Resilience Trust Fund was signed with the World Bank in the amount of $22.5 million. The grant will support the implementation of a new social registry system within the Ministry of VSA and will finance the Emergency Income Support and Training Program. This program is a continuation of the Hospitality First Training and Education Initiative that started in December 2017 with the subsidy of the government of St. Martin, as explained by the Minister of VSA. On behalf of the government of St. Martin, I would like to express my appreciation to the St. Martin Training Foundation for making this project possible. As Prime Minister, I would like to express my gratitude to the Ministry of TEAT and also the Ministry of VSA for their tremendous work in the preparation of this project. Without the commitment and support of both ministries, this crucial program for the economy and people of St. Martin could not have been continued. Together with the grant agreement of $55.2 million that was signed on July 12, this second grant agreement brings the total amount of allocated funding of the trust funds to $77.7 million US. This funding will be used to address some of the most urgent needs of the people of St. Martin. While preparing projects with the World Bank, I've always believed that patience is a virtue. I say this realizing that we are nearing the one-year mark after Irma, and many of our people are still suffering from last year's hurricane season. With the start of the first trust fund projects, however, we have achieved an important step in the recovery process of St. Martin. As Council of Ministers, we remain committed to fully seeing the cooperation with the World Bank through to its conclusion and to facilitate the recovery of our island in the best possible manner, ensuring also resilience and sustainability. Throughout the recovery process, proper planning and preparation remain paramount to ensure that the limited available funding is spent in a sustainable and effective manner. As Prime Minister, I continue to ask for the patience of the people of St. Martin as we use this opportunity to rebuild our country. While sometimes frustrating, building back includes taking the necessary time to ensure that our recovery is such of quality that it benefits the people of St. Martin for years to come. And lastly, I would like to caution the general public against unknown persons impersonating and attempting to defraud persons by pretending to be me. This scam has gone on as far as to create a fake identification card, attempting to prove that indeed they're speaking to the Prime Minister of St. Martin. There are several Facebook accounts that has been created, fake Facebook accounts that have been created. The relevant authorities has been informed. And as a public figure, I am unfortunately used to persons creating fake social media accounts in my name, but to create a fake identification card has taken it a step further. I caution the community to remain vigilant and to never release or send personal information over the internet through social media. We live in an era where every online interaction needs to be scrutinized. With technology, it is becoming all too easy to trick unsuspecting persons. Anyone with information leading to the identification of these criminals, because that is what they are, should report to the relevant authorities. I thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Leona Romeo-Marlin, for your opening remarks. We now go over to the question and answer session. Members of the press is reminded to limit your questions to short, direct queries. The floor is now open for the members of the press to ask questions. Members of the press, any questions? Stephen Cyrillian, PJD2.
Prime Minister, Ministers, good morning. My question is for the Prime Minister. It is widely speculated that changes are coming to DECOM, Prime Minister. If there is any truth to that, what are those changes?
Good morning, and thank you for that question. You stated that changes are coming to DECOM. That is quite interesting. I'm not sure about what those changes are. I do know that there are several vacancies that have to be filled. I know that the entire Ministry of General Affairs, there will be a functional review of the entire ministry, as a matter of fact, of the entire government. So DECOM will fall under that as well.
Thank you, Stephen Cyrillian. Mr. Lyndon Brown.
Good morning to the people of St. Martin. Minister Johnson, you spoke about Sun Wing will soon start construction. How about the healthy aspect around that area where the construction will soon start, the water from the fresh pond?
Thank you, Mr. London, for your question, and of course, focus for the Ministry of TIAT, in addition to creating a new tourism product, and in addition to meeting with the Sunwing Group, and in particular, seeing the development of Great Bay now become a name brand hotel being Planet Hollywood. A surprise element going forward is addressing the channel between Great Bay that connects to the open ocean. So that's part of the plans and projects. And of course, the Minister of Vromi would, once all the green lights are given from the various ministries, we can see that also come to light, that finally a structural solution in terms of dealing with that, the health aspect, and around the property and around the vicinity of that product is also considered. So thank you for your question.
Mr. Johnson, the beautification process will start on Friday at the Saraswati Pier. What role is the Ministry of TR playing in this, and what does the project overall will entail?
Well, of course, I believe that project at the Saraswati Square falls under the Minister of Vromi. And of course, all ministries interlock, and all of us have the same synergy of working together to see St. Martin flourish, whether it's in town or whether it's throughout the different districts, but in particular town, and that's why I mentioned in my opening address with the promotional board, it is seeing not only life back into our capital, but also the overall beautification. So other plans and projects will continue to roll out subsequently and going forward as it interlocks between the various ministries. So Stephen, thank you for your question.
Stephen, sorry, can you take the mic?
What will the project overall entail?
I believe, like I said before, it falls collaboratively with the Ministry of Vromi. So with our ministry, jointly, it will include not only beautification, but also an overall highlight to promote the capital becoming back to its vibrancy that it had once before. So again, it's to continue to see our capital be elevated in many other areas, beautification and overall cleanliness as a product.
Lyndon, do you have a question?
To Minister De Weaver, the people of St. Martin are very thankful for the grace period they have in getting their license plate. The people, the government of St. Martin have really stressed. And to the inspection department, there are people who are ordering their parts, like a windshield, any body parts. But some people are getting preferential treatment. If somebody have their order, that they have a paper proof that the company is pending and they are waiting their windshield, should not the inspection department give the residents, seeing that the government of St. Martin has been so nice to the people? This is more than 6 months that the people had grace period. Should not the inspection department also have some consideration?
I'm not sure exactly what the inspection department is telling them, but I'm sure that
People are waiting for a windshield. The windshield do not make in St. Martin. They have to order it. So they should use some consideration whether people have evidence that I'm waiting on Marshall or waiting on M&O for my windshield to come in 1 month or 2 months. Should they not? They have the insurance. They have all the other documents. Should they not give them the right to get a plate?
that is part of the criteria for the inspection. If you don't have it, they cannot give it to you. You can't give you something in the event that it's going to come.
They are proof that they are waiting.
They can wait, and they're going to have to wait just like everyone else until they get that part and the inspection can be completed. You can't go and pass a car if it doesn't have everything that is on that checklist. So I would only hope that the inspection continues to enforce that and make sure that the cars that are on the road and that have been inspected are actually the ones that are up to par and are drivable.
Presently, cars are driving on the road with broken windshield, so something
And
is
as
not
of-
right.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. As of August 6th, the police also started their controls. So those who have not gotten their inspection also run the risk of getting a ticket on top of it as well. So I ask them and I implore on them to do the right thing.
But some of the cars has license plates.
They can have they can have a license plate. It's fine, but again, you can have a license plate, but your car still has to have all the safety features to it that's supposed to be there. So whether it's headlights, brake lights, all those things have to be in place. And if the police get you without it, then of course you will get a ticket, or someone will get a ticket. And to prevent all that, I just ask everyone to follow the laws, walk behind the law, instead of trying to shortcut it. Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Minister De Wever. Stephen Cyrillian, the floor is yours.
My question is for the Minister of Education. Minister, as many of our students look forward to returning to school on Monday, many of those students will be transitioning from the elementary schools to secondary schools. Are you able to tell us as to how many students will be making this transition?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Cyrillian. I would not be able to give you that figure. Speaking to especially one of the school boards yesterday, they do not have that count because students move from school to school to see where they can be placed or where they can be admitted. And so really on the first day of school, where in fact I was told the ending of August would be the time when they can give the exact figure as to who they have admitted and how many they have admitted in the first forms. So I would not be able to give you that figure now, but be assured I will come back and share that with you and with the public.
Lyndon, you have the floor.
Morning again, Minister Lee. In construction, has any more company submit in the construction recovery plan? And we have a lot of NIPA are going to training. We have also some of our youngsters in Trinidad. Do you still not has a tariff and the income of a helper and a qualified construction worker?
Morning, Lyndon. I'm not quite clear I understood your last
the income,
question. But,
the income,
but
what do they work for? What a qualified construction worker, how much they work for per day, a helper?
again, what I could tell you, so number one, your first question about are there more requests for permits under the expedited construction permits program, so far I have not seen any additional requests come in. As I mentioned, we have our regular work permitting process, but based on our expedited projects permits, we have again had more inquiries and people asking for clarification, how does it work, but in terms of actual numbers, we haven't seen any new projects coming in as yet. Regarding the income for construction workers, I can tell you that it's a market mechanism. The ministry controls minimum wage, so they have to make above minimum wage, but I can certainly tell you from what the anecdotal discussions are that the prices that are being paid for construction workers are high because it's an issue of supply and demand. A lot of people are still looking for construction workers. I see on Facebook all the time people saying, I need a tiler, I need a plumber, I need a carpenter. So the demand is high, the availability is scarce, and so the prices are high, which is why we're trying to offer our training programs to ensure that our people can participate in that industry. Thank you.
Thank you, members of the media, for that final round of questions. Honorable ministers of the council, members of the media, radio listeners, online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live Council of Ministers press briefing for August 8, 2018. For video on demand, log on to the official government's website at stmartingov.org. On behalf of the Department of Communication, I'm Marsha Gaunswo-Pertwee. The Council of Ministers live press briefing is officially closed. To have a pleasant day.